Thanks for clicking on this video. If you're watching this, that means you've watched part 1 of my Teaching Myself How to Drive Manual series. This is part 2, where we go over shifting the car from first to second, third, fourth, and fifth. So the first video that I made on this series was on how to get out of first gear. Since I made that video, I've been driving this car pretty much every day. I've gotten really comfortable with getting out of first gear. Now I'm ready to make a second video on shifting the car. I have been, driving, so I know how to get up in gears, and I wanted to make this video just to give some quick tips on what I've learned and what you should know before getting into a manual car. So like the last video, I do have a little sticky note with some notes on it, and I'm going to be giving you guys just some tips for the first part of the video, and then in the second part I'll have some driving footage. This video won't be as long as the first one because shifting the car is pretty simple once you get the hang of it, and it's also really easy to do once you get out of first gear. Getting into second gear and third and every other gear higher than that is pretty straightforward and pretty easy. So let's get into the car and talk about some stuff. So we are back in my 2019 Chevrolet Camaro. This is the 2-liter turbocharged engine with the 6-speed manual. So the first thing on the list for this video is RPMs. So when in a manual car, watching your RPMs is very crucial. Like we learned in the last video, getting up to about 1500 RPMs was very comfortable for this car getting out of first gear. I learned after making that video that 2000 RPMs is really where I want to be. It lets the car get off a lot smoother than when I was at 1500. So now I get off at about 2000 RPM. So if I want to shift into second gear, then I'd like to be at about 3000 RPM or even 3500. And as you're shifting up from third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, you want to be in higher RPMs so the car doesn't jerk or lurch forward whenever you're shifting. So that's something to look out for. The next thing on the list is miles per hour. So generally, you're not going to be in first gear at 50 miles an hour. First gear is usually for about 15 to 20 miles an hour, and then you go into second gear at about 30 to 35, third gear at about 40, and then fourth gear from about 50 up, and then fifth gear and sixth gear I only use when I'm cruising on the highway. I very rarely go into sixth gear. I mostly stay at fifth. But, to each their own. You can use whatever gear you want when you're driving. So every car is different when it comes to what gear they're most comfortable in. But my car seems to have a lot of torque in second gear and third gear. So if I want to really send it, then I usually stay in those gears. And then fourth gear is also really good for this car. But fifth and sixth, there's not really any power. So once you get more comfortable with your car, you're going to learn what gears you can go the fastest in. So that's pretty much it for RPMs and miles per hour. The next thing on the list is how to shift. So this is pretty basic. Like, you shift first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. However, I just have one little small tip that I learned when driving a manual car. So when I first started driving manual, I would get into first and then get into second, but when I shifted up to get into third, I would sometimes be too aggressive with my hand and shift up into fifth. So obviously that made the car lurch and jerk forward because I was at the wrong speed in the wrong gear. So what I like to do is, if I go from first, shift into second, I like to slowly take the car out of second, get back into neutral, and then just put it straight forward because I know that's third gear. And then I go straight back to get into fourth, and then I go up and to the right to get into fifth, and then down for sixth. So just take it, I like to take it slow whenever I'm shifting. Of course, when I get more comfortable with the car, I'll be shifting a lot faster. But for now, as a beginner, there's no reason that I need to go any faster and mess up my clutch or my car. So don't crucify me for wearing sandals. I know what I said in the first video, but I'm not actually driving the car in this part of the video. I'm just giving you guys some tips that I've learned. So obviously we're in a manual car, so we have our 3 pedals. So the most important pedal in a manual car is the clutch pedal. When you're shifting, you want to have the clutch all the way down to the floor. Right now, my chair is moved back, so it's a little bit harder to fully put the clutch down there. But when I'm normally driving, my chair is a lot farther forward, and it's easier for me to shift. So just some basic knowledge on the clutch. When the clutch is fully down forward and you press on the gas, the car isn't going to go anywhere. So it's as if the car is in neutral. So just keep that in mind, because I learned that the hard way a lot. When I would miss shift, end up in neutral with the clutch still in, and I'd be pressing on the gas wondering why my car isn't going anywhere. It does happen, and you just got to get used to it. So those are really the only tips that I had on shifting. The more you drive the car, the easier it is to shift. So right now, I'm done with the tips and stuff for this video. I'm just gonna be showing some driving footage of me getting up to speed in the car, and then that'll close out the video. So I want to thank you. All right, guys, right now I'm at 0 miles per hour, practically braking right now. Right now I'm just trying to merge onto traffic. Right now I'm in first gear. I'm just gonna show you guys how I accelerate from about first to fifth, and that'll be about it for the rest of this video. So right now I'm creeping in first. I'm at about 15 miles per hour, 3,000 RPM, shift to second. I'm at 40, shift to third. Beautiful. The more you shift, the more you drive, the more you practice, the better you get at it. You're gonna have smooth shifts. It's gonna be beautiful. You guys are gonna end up loving driving stick shift. I absolutely love this car. I'm getting more comfortable downshifting and everything, so yeah, I cannot wait to make more content on this channel and on this car. So with that, thank you guys for watching. I know I'm only in third gear. Let me see. There's a green light right here. Hold on, can I send? All right, they're moving. Nope, they're not. All right, whatever. We'll go into fourth. I'm at about 50 miles per hour. Clutch in, fourth gear. Boom. And then I could go into fifth, but there's really no need. So yeah, peace guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.